we are indexing. So this is the proposal. This EduClips is an example of how you, with Jurassic Park, you can discuss about collaboration and also about DNA. So our business model is based on, we started with a B2B model, selling to schools, and then we realized that families were really appreciating the product and asking to have this product. So we realized that the best will be to use the school as a distributor to get to the families. So we are working more on a B2B2C model rather than a B2B model. So our milestones, we've been in 98 schools in Spain, and also we had a university doing a research that shows that really this usage of the platform is really useful and increase attention and may increase learning. So we've been in several prizes in Europe, and this is what I was mentioning, that this agreement with the national TV in Spain that allows us to collect 1 million titles. So thank you, and we hope that will be the beginning of a beautiful partnership. Thank you.
I really like this. I really like this concept. There is a school, a private school company called Alpha Schools that's been backed by Bill Ackman and people of that nature, where it's more kind of learning that it was developed by the founders of Fortnite, some of the developers there. And it is very learning specific. However, for a product like this where you're scanning already made films, why is that an advantage versus with some of the new video production or ChatGPT? They just released a new model last night for image generation. If I'm a teacher, why would I not just generate my own videos that are very specific to what I'm looking to do and actually go and pull? Yes, there's the nostalgia factor, but I get the sense we're living in an age where the 10-year-olds of today don't have the same nostalgia that we had then.
Yeah, totally makes sense, your question. For one side, but films, inside films, what is important in a film is storytelling. So storytelling is something that is not easy to find a way that, because at the end what we do edutainment. So at the end, the fusion, the connection between education and entertainment is not so easy to do. And as a teacher, they know about their topic, but they don't know how to create engaged content. Okay, so. For one side, I understand that obviously they will start to create their own content, and obviously we are doing we are creating content ourselves. But it's not easy that they create content that will engage kids, because kids are really sensitive when something is not really cool or not really, so yes. But at the same time, it's important that we also allow them to maybe to produce their own content or to adapt to specific needs. Okay? Thank you.
I really appreciate your interest in EdTech. I think as parents, there's probably no amount of money we wouldn't spend on our kids. So I appreciate that. So in terms of your research, did you say how many has gone through, or how you collected your information?
Yes, sorry. We've been working with 98 schools in Spain. We are working in Spain mainly. We have a lot of followers in LATAM. We have 140,000 followers in Instagram. 50% are in LATAM, in Chile, and in Argentina. So the University of Barcelona, they did a research with, I don't know how many schools or teachers, but a really good portion of these schools. And we have this is a summary of this feedback. Yes. I answered your question, sorry?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, no.
Can you dive into your revenue model a little bit more?
Yes.
Explain to us how the business generates revenue, and how do you anticipate the business growing that revenue over time?
Yes. Yes. So, So the business model, as I mentioned, we start with a B2B model. At first, we were selling to schools a premium tickets, so they were not all. It was not allowed for them to use it if they're not paying. But we realized that it was complex because a lot of teachers, they wanted to use individually. So it was not easy for us to decide if we were going to B2C or maintain B2B. And so we did several research, and teachers were not open to pay for, because they were expecting that school is paying for the whole of the classroom or the whole school. But yes, 70% of families were able to pay or were willing to pay for our platform. So this agreement with the national TV in Spain allowed us to create this freemium model, because there are contents that we don't have to pay the rights because they are already open and free for the whole population in Spain and even in Latam. So we are launching this premium model in September. So it's not checked. So we did our selling campaigns were mainly B2B, and this is like something we need to do research or to have feedback from the market. Yes, I don't know. So at the end, for previous experience, because I was working in a publishing house that was selling books to schools, we know that when schools, they get something because they prescribe to the families, it's really a win-win situation for them. So it's what we are trying to do. At the end, if you see here, when there is a collective buy, it will be free for the teachers. You see here, it's like €0 per teacher when they buy it collectively. So we use a school as a distributor.
Hi everyone. I'm Andy Terra, and I'm founder and CEO of Veer. Before doing this, I was VP of Technology M&A at Morgan Stanley in New York, but I've been a software developer my whole life, and I set out to build the software I think should exist. So the thing is, today's uncertainty has really dialed up the pressure on teams to prepare for what's next. But unfortunately, FP&A, sales ops, biz ops still spend over 70% of their time on data preparation instead of actually doing strategic work. This costs the average company, average enterprise, $20 million. That's $54 billion in US enterprise alone. That's because analysis remains siloed, brittle, and slow. Because data is scattered all over, systems of records, 10 plus hours are spent by these teams chasing that data before they even begin to do the work. And the work they do happens in silos with very limited collaboration. And that analysis that they build is completely brittle. Next time they need to change something or update it, they have to start from scratch. It's very slow and costly. And there's no version control or audit trails. But Veer really changes this picture by connecting data and teams for AI-driven modeling, scenario planning, and reporting across the organization. This is a screenshot of our app, which is highly engineered. I'm just going to focus on the 4 key capabilities here. So first is data integrations. We have built-in connections to data that these companies already rely on. So think ERP like SAP, CRM like Salesforce, data lakes like Databricks, Snowflake, and so on. This lets the AI drive work that is actually accurate and aligned to the company goals. And that work is modeling, what-if scenarios, analysis and reporting with an environment that is completely multiplayer and collaborative. So here we're looking at a VP of Finance working with the sales director in Europe, aligning on the sales targets for the year. So the AI can drive that work alongside the teams down to spreadsheet formulas they already know, and with one click build interactive what-if scenarios and turn them into executive-ready board decks, that kind of stuff. and all interactive and collaborative. We do that through AI agents that are tailored for the kind of work these people do in enterprises. So you have like a modeler that can build financial models with ease, but also companies can build their own AI agents and define workflows, whether it's on schedule or on demand, to do the work they do today. We built this to be enterprise from day one, so we have auditability and traceability, but also single sign-on. We host it on dedicated US infrastructure, and we give companies the ability to self-host if they really want absolutely control over the data, make sure that it never leaves their organization. Use cases, I'm just going to touch on one. This is a Fortune 500 FP&A team where the team that sits in the US needs to coordinate with the team in Latin America and get the numbers and get the latest information on the ground. Today that's done in emails with files that get sent around with a little bit of explanation on top, and it takes the team here multiple days just to process that information to report back up to the organization. With Veer, they can do that immediately by getting the same data in the same environment, collaborate with the team, get the help of AI to prepare that report and be done instantly. So AI productivity is a nascent market, but it's going to be really big. But you can probably tell. We're very, very early stage. We're coming out of stealth next week. So with zero marketing, we've been able to get 5 enterprises to agree to use Veer. That's the names that you see on this page. We start with a small $10,000 paid pilot up front that can into a larger team, and on top of that, then convert into a contract. And the conversation we've had so far has been for a $500,000 ACV at one of these. So this is the team. I built the MVP myself and brought on Spencer as a technical lead and Todd, who is experienced entrepreneur, to help drive the business. That's it. Thank you.
Incredible, very exciting. I'll ask a question I think a lot of, whether it be early stage companies or even your later stage software companies, are going to be asked and really forced to confront over the next few years, especially as news the last day or two, Thoma Bravo writing down